Hi everyone, it's Mikaila, and I'm just going to go through my evaluation proposal for our health science education rounds and journal clubs. So basically, this is actually like a real life issue happening in my professional context. And essentially, every month, for the first Friday of every month from 7 to 9, we hold health science education rounds. And so each month there's a different speaker on a different topic. We advertise in advance, take registration, though it's optional, but you can drop in, and it's for any faculty who are part of the health science faculty at Queen's. So because they're monthly, it actually does require quite a bit of my human resource to organize in terms of the logistics, coordinating speakers, deciding on topics, accrediting them, like getting learning objectives, conflicts of interest signed, and working around the presenter's schedule. And that includes booking the room and getting coffee and breakfast, which is another layer of organization since we get coffee, tea, like scones, muffins, and that kind of thing. So even though it's only 1 hour per month, there's actually a lot of background work that goes on to make them happen. And it costs about $200 just in like food costs to run the event, especially because the food doesn't really get eaten or consumed. So we're finding it's not really good value for that $200. But health science education rounds and journal clubs are valuable, and as a faculty of health sciences, we do have to offer them on a regular basis and give the faculty an opportunity to attend. So we really want to evaluate why the attendance has waned in the last year or so. Some rounds we get 1 or 2 people, some we get 10, and there's about 2,000, maybe I would say 1,500 Kingston-based faculty. So to have attendance of 10 is really not that great. So we really want to provide a quality program evaluation for the Director of Educational Scholarship. So I think it's advantageous to figure out, what's happening and is there a potential remedy to our issue? And this evaluation will accomplish that. So the best way to disseminate this evaluation is through a survey, and surveys in health sciences are quite common, and they do yield a high response rate, depending on the topic, of course, but they're quick and they're easy to distribute, especially since our faculty are kind of all over on like southeastern Ontario. And the question-oriented approach allows us to get valuable information because we can ask targeted questions as to, which day of the week would be better for them to attend, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Is there a time slot? We can offer those time slots, and we can get very narrow answers, which is sort of what we're looking for if it's a bit of a scheduling issue. But if there is a topic issue, we can add qualitative questions, which is why I'm planning to do a mixed method approach. So on one hand, we get the specific answers to like the logistics questions, like is the first Friday of every month not working? So we can ask questions about date and time, etc. But then we can also have open-ended questions that include opportunities for feedback and evaluation for faculty to answer if there's a reason why they're not attending that has nothing to do with the time and place or the location. Perhaps they don't like the topics. In the last year, a lot of the rounds have been focused on competency-based medical education, because that's the new evaluation system Queen's post-grad education transition to. And so that only did apply to school of medicine. So perhaps they were just overwhelmed with the amount of rounds that was on that topic. And nursing, School of Nursing and Rehab, perhaps their attendance was low because they didn't find that topic was relevant for them. So also I wanted to add the purpose of this evaluation is not meant to broadly assess the merit of the program, because the value of education rounds and journal clubs in medical education is well documented. And Stufflebeam in his article, Evaluation Models, does make that distinction in the questions-oriented evaluation approach. So just to demonstrate some of the standards that I will be adhering to, I used this website here. And so all of the standards are listed. And what I've done is I've selected one standard from each dimension that were most relevant for this evaluation. So for example, just to highlight one of them, for subsection E, or substandard E, 1, under evaluation accountability, in terms of evaluation documentation, there will be a final summative evaluation report submitted. And so it will talk about why we're doing the evaluation, what the evaluation design we decided on, the actual survey, the procedures for disseminating the survey and trying to get a high response rate, the data, like the raw data, and then the outcomes that we discover once the data is analyzed. So it will be completely transparent, like nothing hidden. The final report will include everything from point A to point B and everything in between. And then competencies. So just to draw your attention to this website here. So these are all the evaluator competencies. There's quite a lot here. They're very good and they're very thorough. And so I also chose one again. One sub-principle from each of the 5 guiding principles to respond to. So you can see them listed here and refer to that website for the detailed description. So just to draw your attention to C1, so we will regularly communicate with the program stakeholders. So this includes the Director of Education Scholarship, the Associate Dean, and other members of my team and members of the Scientific Planning Committee with updates along the way, or like a formative report at regular intervals to let them know where we're at, what the data is showing, what we think the results are leaning towards in a way that is clear, unambiguous, and respectful to program stakeholders. So finally, I think this proposal carefully considers all the aspects of program evaluation. And I think it's very thorough, and I think it will help us get the answers that we're looking for. In the professional context, this will have a real life application because we do want to revamp and improve the education round so that we get a higher attendance. And lastly, if the goal of evaluative thinking is to encourage informed decision-making and propel action, this evaluation will do that. And so I think if anyone has any questions, feel free to email me or comment on this presentation. But I hope that this proposal outlines why this evaluation approach will be the best way to conduct an evaluation for the rounds. And I think its intended purpose will propel it to be successful. And here are just a few references that I consulted. And thanks for listening.